It happened again, and it's why I have a smile on my face, because I know the reason why another Republican has quit on Donald Trump, and it is because in this moment, he has never been more politically toxic. He is flailing. He is frail, both politically, mentally, physically. Donald Trump understands that he is facing down a midterms that is going to wipe him out, and for the rest of his term, it will be impeachments, it will be indictments, it will be chaos in his White House, but it has already begun because, yes, another MAGA Republican is quitting on Donald Trump. Republicans are cynical operators. There is no morals grounding them. These decisions are not made because of something deep inside them that leads them to chase the truth and dignity in the American spirit. No, they're cynically operating, and they're operating against Donald Trump. And we're going to get into who, why, and where Republicans go from here. But it all begins, like I said, with Donald Trump and these terrible poll numbers.
Why? Because the economy and inflation ate Joe Biden's presidency alive, and now it is eating Donald Trump's presidency alive. I mean, just take a look here. Net approval rating on the economy. You go back to this point in the Joe Biden presidency, he was 19 points underwater. You go into Donald Trump's presidency, hey, he started off in the positive territory at plus 6 points. But down he goes, down the slide into the ocean he goes, negative 20 points. Donald Trump is actually in slightly worse position right now in the economy than Joe Biden was in this presidency. And of course, Joe Biden, as I said at the top, the economy ate his presidency alive. And right now it is eating Donald Trump's presidency alive.
A lot of the focus the last few days, understandably, has been on the immigration crackdown. Is that what Americans want to see?
No, this is the whole thing. You know, why is Donald Trump going into Iowa right now? And it is because of this. I mean, Trump administration is focusing too little on lowering prices. The vast majority, 3 in 4 Americans say he's focusing too little on lowering prices. That's why he's going into Iowa. What is he focusing too much on? He's focusing too much on deportations at 53%. The Americans want to focus on the economy and lowering prices. They don't want on deportations. And right now, they think it's flipperoo. And that's why Donald Trump, again, going into Iowa, trying to flip that script, a script that right now the American people do not like.
For full disclosure, I cheated and actually read ahead on this presentation. This next slide, I think, is the most interesting. What do we know about when presidents aren't doing well with the economy, how that affects the midterms?
I'm going to forgive John for skipping ahead here, but the audience will follow along with the lesson plan as it was supposed to be told. Take a look here. The president's party, the average midterm House seat loss. If the president's net approval rating on the economy is positive, which Donald Trump isn't, you keep your House seats lost to a minimal, right? You lose about 9 seats on average. If it is negative, the president is not liked on the economy. If his net approval rating on the economy is negative, as it is right now for Donald Trump, look at the average House seat loss. It's a 28 seat loss on average, which would wave adios amigos, goodbye, see you later, that House majority, and it probably would put the Senate majority in danger as well. When a president is seen negative on the economy, his party suffers. Big league.
They just couldn't be worse. The polls couldn't be worse for Donald Trump. He is so damn unpopular and on every issue. And the problem for Donald Trump is usually when he's trying to dig himself out of this hole, he'll go to the good old classic. He'll just throw a little racism out there and see what sticks. But Donald Trump can't even do that. He can't talk about the caravans and needing ICE and Border Patrol and Kristi Noem because that is the most unpopular part of his administration. So much so that, and we're going to talk about this more in depth in a later video, but Pam Bondi might be releasing more Epstein files. We've gotten to the point that Donald Trump is so toxic on immigration, he's like, if I could, can we give him some Epstein files to talk about? That is the point that Donald Trump is at right now. He doesn't believe it, though, when you ask him about polls, though.
We are starting to see the historic success reflected in tremendous polls. We have great polls. In last week's Rasmussen poll, we're leading among Hispanic voters. We're leading by a lot. Nobody's ever seen a Republican lead among Hispanic voters. You know, Hispanic voters don't want crime. People don't realize that. Hispanic voters want strong voters because they know what's coming in and they don't want them. They're great. They've been great. We did so great in the election with Hispanic voters. We did so.
Oh, yes, Donald. All the polls are fake and everybody loves you. And quite frankly, you're so fantastic, except for the fact that you're not. And people don't like you. A certain Republican congressman doesn't like you. And he's making that clear because he's quitting on you. And it is only going to make the midterms that much worse for Donald Trump. And don't forget about Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson hasn't said a word in the past couple of days. He has kept the House shut down. We are going to go into a government shutdown. And Mike is just hoping to keep his job. He's not gonna, because we got another Republican quitting. GOP's Capitol Hill woes explode with fresh departure. Veteran GOP Rep. Vern Buchanan announced that he will not seek re-election in 2026. The 74-year-old congressional veteran, who has served southwestern Florida for 20 years, said on Tuesday that he would pass the torch and begin a new chapter in my life. I came to Congress to solve problems. You didn't. Fight for working families. You're a Republican, so you didn't. And to help ensure this country remains a place where opportunity is available to anyone willing to work for it. Again, you're a Republican, so don't buy that. Buchanan was first elected to Congress in 2006, and I don't really care about his background. so we're just going to skip a little part of this article. What matters, though, is that Buchanan adds to a growing list of Republicans who have declined to seek re-election heading into the 2026 midterms, after former MAGA darling, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, announced her shock resignation in November. An anonymous GOP lawmaker told Punchbowl News that the GOP side of the House was like a tinderbox, and more explosive resignations were to come. A total of 9 Republican representatives, including Elise Stefanik, Neil Dunn, and Dan Newhouse, have announced their retirements from public office. 18 Republicans are pursuing other offices, like Nancy Mace, who is running for governor of South Carolina, and Chip Roy, who is running for Texas Attorney General. So lots of Republicans are retiring, and I wonder why. What could it be about the current political climate that has them retiring? Might it be the fact that the president is a pedo defender, a pedo himself, a criminal, bursting at the seams with criminality? Is it that everyone in his administration is either riddled with insecurity or filled with Botox? Might that be it? And it hasn't been super swell fantastic, super califragilistic expialidocious for the country? Is that it? Maybe it's that every time you put Republicans in charge, they fuck it up. Maybe that's why. And people have realized, and Republicans hate a lot of stuff, right? They hate freedom. They hate the First Amendment. They hate the Fourth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. Now they hate the Second Amendment. Somehow they hate affordability. They hate anyone who doesn't look like them. It seems that they hate the teachings of Christ, although they talk about them a lot. But what they really hate is shame, being ashamed of themselves. And they hate being humiliated, which is what's going to happen to so many Republicans. And it's why so many of them have just said, I'm done, I'm good, I'm retiring, I'm going to go out on my terms. But what they are is going out. They're going out. And isn't that beautiful? Isn't it quite frankly fantastic? And it's something I've been thinking about more and more, not just Republican departures, and it puts a big smile on my face, but what the end of all of this is going to look like. And stick around, because we got more to get into, but I think this is important. What is the end of all of this going to look like? When I say the end of all of this, I mean Donald Trump. He is wrapping it up pretty quickly. But there will come a January 20th, 2029, as long as, and Democratic leaders, if you're listening, please ensure that we have our elections in November protected and in 2028 protected. Jesus, we can start planning. But when Donald Trump is on his way out, everyone's already talking about his heir, his successor. Does he want one? Isn't Donald Trump the type of guy who says, well, quite frankly, things were terrible before I got here, then I fixed it all, and then when Joe Biden came in, things got bad again and you needed me so desperately? Isn't Donald Trump the type of guy to want to claim that everything was a mess before he got there, and then once he left, it all fell apart again, and that the Republican Party always needed Donald Trump, and it wouldn't be anything without Donald Trump, and it's not going to be anything without Donald Trump? Do you think he wants to see J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio succeed him? Do you really? I don't think so. Donald Trump has gotten what he's wanted out of the presidency. Billions of dollars, avoiding jail. Now, a Democratic president should make sure that the avoiding jail part, and those millions and billions of dollars should be seized. All those contracts should be ended. Let's make this very clear. But do you think Donald Trump wants to go out helping someone, campaigning for someone? I don't think so. I really don't. And so Republicans in Congress are not just leaving because they know they're going to get the boot from their constituents. They must also realize that Donald Trump will not have their backs, and in fact might revel in the fact that this party is going to fall apart. That might be the place that we're getting to. And if we do, as Lindsey Graham said in 2016, they will deserve it. They will have deserved it. Or was it 2015? I think it was 2016. I don't know. Lindsey's a pretty big flip-flopper. But this is not the only important news coming out of Congress. I told you all, stick around because there's more. And there is. And Rachel Maddow
voted on a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security, which is the agency that oversees ICE and the rest of Trump's immigration crackdown. Just as they were preparing to pass that bill in the House, one Democratic congresswoman from Texas, Veronica Escobar, came forward with a warning about what they were about to vote on. She says, quote, during our debate on the bill, I successfully amended the bill to include language that would prevent ICE from apprehending and deporting U.S. citizens. When the bill was reported out of committee, it included my amendment. But, she says, during negotiations, I was told that the White House, Stephen Miller in particular, stripped my amendment from the bill. Again, the amendment was explicitly and specifically just to prevent ICE from apprehending and deporting U.S. citizens. They stripped that out of the bill, reportedly at the White House's insistence. Congresswoman Escobar says, quote, this means Donald Trump does not want to protect U.S. citizens. Let that sink in. Donald Trump does not want U.S. citizens protected from being detained and deported by ICE. So So Republicans are preparing to vote on the big bill to fund ICE, to fund Homeland Security. Congresswoman Escobar says, hey, can we just make it clear here that ICE can't arrest and deport U.S. citizens? Republicans say, yes, we can do that. That's fine. We're not supposed to be deporting U.S. citizens anyway, right? So go ahead and put that in this bill. We agree. But then according to the Congresswoman, the White House and Stephen Miller then step in and tell the Republicans, we don't care that you're okay with it. We want that taken out.
They want to deport American citizens. Should come as no surprise to anyone. Should come as no surprise. But it should be something that we talk about every single day. Just because it's not surprising doesn't mean we can grow numb and go, oh, Stephen Miller wants to deport American citizens. What a shock. Keep it pushing. We got to be talking about all of this. And I know that's a big burden, but it is why independent media is so important, because we know CNN's not going to cover it. I'll tell you that much. No, Fox isn't. Shout out to Rachel Maddow for doing so. But we need, when people come to YouTube, we need them to see Brian Tyler Cohen. We need them to see Don Lemon. We need to see I've Had It. We need them to see, a little selfishly, this show. So subscribing, leaving a like, spreading the word is the best thing you can do. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.